I'm Carla Tomaszewski, actually Carla Hazard Tomaszewski. I'm from a family of artists. I'm Polish on my mother's side. I'm a professional artist, just like both my parents and my brother. And I got interested in the Polish side of my family back in my early 20s. I didn't pay much attention to it until I became a professional artist myself and started seeing very much similarity in my graphics that I do, the stylistic similarities. I was discovering that this was very Polish. So through our family traditions at Easter time and Christmas and things like that, my mom and I, we started doing Polish folk crafts, and we would do the eggs at Easter time. We call them Pisanki, and in Polish, pisać means to write. So they used writing, any type of implement that you would to write on and decorate on the egg. Easter eggs, as we talk about them, especially in Poland and the Slavic nations, go back, they've found them decorated eggs over 1,000 years old. They have what we would call nowadays tribal style decorations, very geometric, with very natural colorings of browns and blacks and tans and things. But through the centuries, of course, as culture grew and all, so did the way that the people decorated the eggs. Poland became Christianized in 966. And so, of course, the acculturation changed, and the folk arts, the expressions became Christianized. And so these symbols, Christian symbols of rebirth, of resurrection, Christ's resurrection for Easter, flowers and springtime and things, all those designs translated onto the eggs. There are many different techniques for Pisanki. The most popular one, and the one that people visualize the most, is actually a Ukrainian style. In Polish, it's called batikowanie. In English, we say batik. It's done with a wax-resist technique. The design is applied onto the egg with a small stylus. It's a hollow funnel that you put melted wax in, and you draw on the egg with the melted wax. And then you use successively darker bath dyes. Each time you draw on the egg, you cover a little bit of it up with the wax, dye it again. You start usually with the white and the yellow and progress towards the oranges, reds, sometimes dark blues, until many times they even use black as an accent color. By that time, the egg is practically covered with wax. And in order to see the beautiful dye patterns that you have produced, you have to very gently and gingerly melt off that wax and wipe it clean, because the wax has also been carbonized with black. So it really looks like a big mess when you finish waxing it, but when you get that wax off, it's a very wonderful surprise, and with bright colors and patterns that you've sort of imagined in your head. There's also the technique that I like to use. It's called skrobanie. It sort of sounds like scratch. What you do is you dye the egg a very, very deep color, and I use a very sharp pointed etching tool. It's usually used in etching metal plates, and you scratch out the design from the dark color. And essentially what you're doing is drawing with the knife. The knife is scratching out down to the white of the egg. And I particularly like that because, being a graphic artist and illustrator, I am very comfortable with drawing. So to me, that knife is like a pencil or a pen, and I can do some very nice. Instead of a decorative effect like you see in folk art, I like to actually draw natural subjects like geese and birds and things onto the egg. And they come out very lovely, especially with the natural colorings we use. One of the most popular natural dyes that we use is our dried onion skins. And we cook some of hard-boil the eggs, and we put a handful of old dried onion skins that we've been saving over the months because most Polish people like to use that. It gives you a beautiful golden, deep brown color. The longer you leave it in the dye bath in the pot on the stove there cooking away, the deeper the color gets. And then that gives you a very nice dark canvas background for scratching out your design. A lot of people are very afraid to do this. They say, oh, I'm not creative, I'm not an artist. But that's not what folk art is really about. And the authenticity comes in anybody sitting down and doing it and appreciating the tradition and expressing themselves creatively. And that's my take on what folk art is all about.